So, hey, Guillermo, haven't seen you in a while. So anyway, so what we're going to do today is I want to look at some of the, I want to look at just 2 scored responses to the Gandhi thing. I appreciate your posts. Not all of you were able to post. That's kind of a bummer. Because I mean, I'm not putting zeros in the grade book at this point. I'm more just giving you an opportunity to do some work. So I really appreciate those of you who do post. If you haven't posted, don't worry about going backwards, but maybe we'll go forward with this next one. So anyway, the Gandhi, what we're gonna do is look over Gandhi responses, and then I'm gonna give you another question 2, FRQ. It's a letter that Abigail Adams wrote to her son. Letters, speeches, any sort of text is fair game for the rhetorical analysis. So I want to go back and start with 18th century stuff, which tends to be less accessible. Plus, AP College Board put out a new set of videos. Now they've decided what the question is. And there are 4 videos. I've linked to one of them. I'll show you in a second. It's actually a buddy of mine from the readings back when we were in Louisville, and English Lit and English Lang were both together for the same week of reading. She's nice. she was fun. One of the Chicago people I hung out with. She's going to walk you through, kind of, and you can just zip through it. You can kind of skim it. You can scroll forward and whatnot. You can do some of the work she does or not. But so the homework for Wednesday is going to be to read the Abigail Adams letter, which I'll show you in a second, and watch this video that my friend Emily posted here. But let's start with going back to, hang on here. I should ask, hang on. Any questions so far? Any comments? I think you guys have, I think this ultimately will play to your favor. Let me go to, whoops. Let's go to, hang on here. My internet, unfortunately, is super slow. I think it's straining under the burden of me sitting here in the tent. Just let this load. I thought your Gandhi posts were good, and I didn't spend a whole lot of time reading them. If you looked at the page and saw it in my comments, you'll see I repeat myself again and again and again. Generally I say, oh, good observations. You guys are picking up on good stuff. But you got to take the next step and ground those observations in the actual language of the text. We talked about this earlier. Oh, man. Let me just, here we go, finally. So here are your Gandhi posts. I see there's 5 more, thanks. I'll read those when I get a chance. I don't know if any of you looked at these yet. Man, my internet's slow, I'm so sorry. We'll look at 2 samples. I should have had this open, sorry. Okay, you guys just chillax for a second. This will take a while. %, 100%. Nikki, how come you're the only one I get to see?
What?
No, it's just when I minimize, when I'm sharing the screen, only one picture comes up, and oh, now it's Jonah. That's good. There you go. Come on, down on this. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, I should have had this open. Shoot. Okay. Stop share. Maybe it'll download faster here. Yeah, I'm not even seeing you guys. I don't know if I'm freezing on you guys or not. Anyway, so what we're going to see from these samples You know, the big thing with rhetorical analysis question is you got to keep in mind, again, that rhetorical triangle. Who's the speaker? You know, who's the audience? What's the purpose? And what are the relationships between them? What does Gandhi, what does he know? What can he anticipate about, you know, the Lord Viceroy's potential objections? How does he anticipate those, refute them? What's the Lord's, you know, the Lord Viceroy's relationship to the purpose, which is to end these, you know, the salt tax? What's Gandhi's relationship to that? What's the relationship between Gandhi and, you know, somebody who's, as many of you pointed out, you know, wants to serve Britain, but primarily wants to serve India. Let me see. And then what you do, so what you do is you establish in your opening, you're going to establish the, which you guys did great on the disobedience one. You're going to establish the rhetorical situation. And then for those 45 minutes, and I don't know if it's 40 minutes to write and 5 minutes to upload, or if it's going to be 45 minutes to write and 5 minutes to upload. I'll let you know as soon as I find out. But the thing is to do is to, once you've, you know, read the passage, try to read it quickly. We'll be practicing reading a bunch of passages here. You know, it's hard to, you know, annotate on the screen, so just kind of take notes to yourself as you're reading through it. In that opening paragraph, you establish the rhetorical situation. What's at stake? You know, who's the speaker? What's the context? What's the, you know, the situation? How, you know, what is the purpose? What are they trying to achieve? And then for each of your body paragraphs, what you're really doing is, a lot of you talked about Gandhi's tone. A lot of you talked about, you know, trying to establish some common ground with the Lord Viceroy and other things. And these are all great. But what you want to do is you want to make an observation, then you want to reach into the text, and you want to summarize, paraphrase, and then reproduce just short words and phrases from the quote. If I can get these things to load, I'll show you why you don't want to quote at length. And then you spend 3 or 4 sentences explaining why the textual reference you've just cited supports the observation you made at the outset. Then you just do it. Basically, we're not writing essays so much as we're shaping paragraphs for as long as we can, or as many as we can, for the 40 minutes that we have. Let me see if this is loaded yet here. Still not loading. Still not loading. Oh, gosh. Come on. Come on. Yeah, this can take forever. I don't think that oh, here we go. Here we go. We just do this. So let's look at sample SS. You guys all see the screen? Let's actually look at TT first. I've also got to, I'm sorry, I should have had these open. We go here. Emoji. While we're waiting for that. Whoops. Down here. Joan, I can see you yawning. I got Joni yawning. I know I'm in trouble. He's the most engaged student there is. Okay, this is taking too long. We're gonna go to plan B, which is, let's just look at 2 of these. I've posted the scoring rubrics. I think I misspoke last week when I said we're trying to get a 4 or 5. It's actually a 6-point scale. And you'll see this. I'm not going to pull it up because it's not loading. But you'll see in the scoring commentaries, the rubric. You get up to 1 point for having a thesis or not. You get up to 4 points for essentially the body of your essay. The strength of your argument, your ability to write with style and flair, and your ability to point to specific things being done in language in the actual text that you're given to review and to analyze, and then explaining why these represent some sort of rhetorical strategy that relate back to the rhetorical triangle and the larger rhetorical situation. And then, so that's up to 5 points. And there's a final 1 point or 0, which I think is just, can you write well? But So here's an opening, which, think of what you guys were listing in terms of observations. Mohandas Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent protester, whose misspelled goal was to lead India into independence. When Britain added a colonial monopoly on and taxation of their essential resource of salt, Gandhi was ready to do a salt march. However, before doing so, Gandhi wrote Viceroy Lord Irwin, the representative of the British Crown in India, to present his case and opinion. Gandhi, throughout the conclusion of his letter, describes what the British are doing, with his diction, using ethos, and gives reasons. It gives reasoning for his intended discussion. Thoughts on that? Pretty crappy opening, okay? That's still got a 1. This binary thing, if I can get this to, hang on here, no. If I can get this scoring rubric up. I should add this up. Who did I just admit? He just popped in. Who's Paul Scher? Oh, Paul Scher. Hey, Justine. Anyway, let me see what you guys are chatting about. Justine's computer. Oh, it kicked her off. Sorry about that. Thanks, Elena. I don't really pay much attention to the chat. So yeah, the point is, this is a really crappy opening. It's still got 1 point. Let's go to, sorry. I thought these were up. Whoops. So let's look at this one. Here is an essay, which is okay. Its greatest virtue is it's really well written. But here's a sample that got 1 point for the category A. It had a thesis. Full 4 points for the body of the essay, and the additional point for just being cognizant of the rhetorical situation and being written with flair. Nonviolence has often been a technique used by social and political figures to peacefully display opposition to a certain law of practice, or practice. In the book on civil disobedience by Henry David Thoreau, Thoreau argued that the citizens must exercise their responsibility to refuse to adhere to unjust laws. Later, civil rights leader Martin Luther King would take a similar approach by organizing peaceful protests and to further the rights of African Americans. So 3, pretty decent sentences that kind of narrow down to the actual prompt. In 1930, Mohandas Mahatma Gandhi used the principle of civil disobedience and nonviolence to protest the unjust control of India by Britain, by arranging a salt march to display the unfair British monopoly on salt, by describing the British control of Indian commerce as, and that greedy should be in quotation marks, and misguided should be in quotation marks, clearly asserting the peaceful nature of the protest and offering to negotiate with Viceroy Lord Irwin. Gandhi makes the case that his nonviolent protests stand up for the good of mankind against the tyranny of the British. Now, obviously, this is a much, much more successful opening than T, and yet both essays score 1. So again, this binary thing, I think this is, the new rubric is actually going to work in your favor. The elegance of the prose here is probably, it's probably what punches the second category up to a 4. Gandhi acknowledges the risks that he's undertaking by, and this is really sort of an elegant 5-paragraph essay. Again, I wouldn't necessarily include, my 3 points. This is it's like an elegant 5-paragraph essay. I don't think you need to list the 3 things you're going to talk about in your opening paragraph, again, because this is a time-writing task and you might not get to all 3. So just say by describing the Indian commerce as greedy and misguided, Gandhi makes the case his nonviolent protests stand up for the good of the tyranny. Just go to that. Don't list the 3 things that you're going to try and write about. But otherwise, it's pretty darn good. Gandhi acknowledges the risks that he is undertaking by standing up to the British government, but also asserts that they're necessary for the victories of the truth to prevail. And this is exactly what I mean by not quoting at length. You need to quote directly from the text. You have to have words and phrases in quotation marks, but you really don't want to quote any more than about this length. Let me look at another essay here that, well, we talked about this the other day, but the problem is if you quote at length, the readers are so familiar with the passage. They're reading, hundreds and hundreds and, in most cases over 1,000 of these essays. They've got the passage memorized. So if you start quoting a sentence or more from the text, they're going to skip right over that. They're not even going to look at it because they know what it says already. They've read it a gazillion times. So when you have to quote from the text, but when you quote from the text, you want to integrate words and phrases in your own sentence. So you can summarize, paraphrase what's being said in a certain section of a letter or a speech or whatever, and then just quote the most salient words or put them in quotation marks. By doing so, and then so you make acknowledges the risk. So you make an observation, and these are the kinds of things that you guys were listing on the discussion blog, or they're posting there, which is great. And then you've got a little bit of the text, quoted directly, and then you start to talk about its significance in terms of the rhetorical strategies that the writer or the speaker is using to convince his or her audience. By doing so, Gandhi is establishing, what's that passive voice, an underlying theme of heroism in the face of misguided evil. This noble theme is furthered by Gandhi's desire to make the British, quote, see the wrong they have done to India. Again, a short quote there, but not to harm the British. Gandhi's focus on using an equal love for your people with mine serves to demonstrate the peaceful nature of his protest and also highlights the wrongdoing of the British Empire by juxtaposing it with his own, quote, weapon of love and peace. Gandhi appeals to emotion, saying that the suffering of Indian people rebelling against British rule will be enough to melt the stoniest of hearts. We don't need to read this whole thing. You can go read through it and look at length. The length is pretty significant. I think that the fact that you guys are going to be typing these essays is going to be helpful to you. I don't know. So the point is, if I see this other one loaded. So what I want you guys, any questions on this, comments? I don't want to take up too much of your time. I don't have a whole lot. And plus, I'm going to ask you to watch somebody else walk you through one of these. So what I want to do.
I have a question about
yes.
the grading. So will it be on the 1 to 6 scale that they plan to do this year, or
yes.
are they going to stick to the?
It's the new rubric that we looked at. Let me show you the rubric. If I could just get this damn thing.
Also, can we use like a thesaurus or something while we're writing our essay?
You can. This is open note.
Oh,
and one of the things we're going to do, Thomas, is we're going to, in a couple of weeks, see, we got 5 weeks. And what we're going to do is do one of these things a week. And I am going to ask you guys to start writing a couple of them so I can sit with you guys one-on-one and look at your individual responses. And, because your tics are different than other people's tics and whatnot. We want to make sure that we're building your strength. But yeah, I think we ought to make up a list of keywords, not necessarily the rhetorical terms, but we want to come up collectively with an easy set of notes that include things like the rhetorical triangle, that include certain terminology that's specific to rhetorical analysis, appeals. We're going to know what ethos is, know what pathos is, know what logos is, and whatnot. And yeah, I want to have a cheat sheet that's no more than about a 8.5 by 11, piece of paper, because I don't want you guys. You've got to write. Length counts. So I want to make sure that you have. Let me close this a sec. Whoops. So I want to, we'll come up with that, but it's not, I don't want you guys to waste too much time looking stuff up or, hitting a thesaurus for a different way to say something, because ultimately what counts most is going to be your, go back. What counts most is going to be your, the elegance of your prose. I mean, yes, you have to figure out what the argument is, what the rhetorical situation is. Yes, you got to point to a few things in the text and quote directly from it to make your case. But even if your case is a little off the mark, it's ultimately it's how well you write. It's as I've said before, it's kind of elegant bullshit. And its length. I want lots of writing out there. And if you waste 4 or 5 or 6 minutes looking stuff up, which obviously they're going to allow you to do because it's online, then I worry that where it is. I worry that it's going to sacrifice length, and that's ultimately going to count. These are going to be scored. You're going to get more readings. They're hiring, I think, twice the number of readers this year. And so each essay is going to be read multiple times, whereas in a normal reading, each of your essays is usually read just once. Some out of a folder of 25 essays, maybe 4 or 5 will be back read by a table leader. Of those 4 or 5, maybe 1 will be read by a section leader or a question leader. But so this year they're doing a little different. So all these teachers or these readers are going to have sitting in front of them is your essay, and so they're not going to see all the other stuff, notes and whatnot that you put on. So here's the index of scores. Okay, so look at this. Every single essay got a point for a thesis, even that crappy T essay I read to you. Whereas, and this is where, and you can see that the top 2. So I gotta believe that getting a 6 or a 5 like HH got here, I've got to believe that that's the equivalent of getting a 7 or better on the regular essays, on the old 10-point scale. Remember, we're always shooting for 7s. Because I'm not sure how this is going to translate into a 4 or a 5, given that there's 6 points. I mean, 6 points is probably going to be a 5. Are 5 points going to be a 5? Or is it going to be a 4? I don't know. But you can see that everybody's getting this. So I'm not worried about the strength of your thesis. I'd like you to have elegant openings, kind of like some of the ones we looked at. But we looked at Wiley's last week, and that was really strong. But these 4s right here are a consequence of, again, they're reaching to the text, they're making an observation, they're reaching the text with some supporting evidence, and they're explaining at length why that evidence supports the observation they make at the outset. And you're doing that again and again and again. You're repeating that pattern over and over and over, and doing it in fairly well-controlled prose. And that's going to get you the 4. And then this extra 1 that nobody seems to get is not, I've read through all, and you guys can, I posted these. You can read all these scoring commentaries. But generally, I mean, here's this response. Where's S? The one we were just reading. So the one we're just reading, this response earned a point for row C because it discusses in detail how the passage's complexity support Gandhi's purpose. The response asserts in paragraph 4 that Gandhi makes an Indian resistance seem inevitable, emphasizing how tens of thousands will protest, blah, 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 blah. But the student's own style is persuasive and convincing throughout. And that's the key, and that's what's going to get you. So it's really that stylistic innovation. So I think, again, we're shooting for, and you guys can read these essays on your own. We're shooting for this, these 5s are fine, and ideally get the 6s. Does that sort of answer your question, Thomas? Yeah. So enough of this. I posted these. You guys can look at them. I want to move on and find, where is this? Sorry. So what I did was I posted the prompt. Now you're going to have to, well, let's open this up. Sure wish my computer would run a little faster. Unfortunately, I didn't know how to cut down the PDF and I was out of time. So you're going to have to scroll through to question 2. This is the 2014 exam. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I promise Wednesday I'll have the stuff preloaded. So just skip through all this. Whoops. Go to page 9. This is a synthesis question. Yeah, so you guys aren't having to deal with all this stuff. I think it's a good thing. I think ultimately it's a pain in the ass, but you guys are going to all do better as a result. So this is question 2, and this is another rhetorical analysis. I want to start with this one because the video discusses this one in detail. So, and it's, you've got the prompt. You can read the prompt on your own. It says, my dear son, it's this is, and then there's question 3 there, which unfortunately we're not going to be doing. So pull this up, read through this letter, and then I'd like you to, hang on a second. Let's go back here, sorry. Go back. I've got a link to this video, okay? And this is my buddy Emily from the reading, and she is actually talking about, and it's kind of slow. She uses a little different vocabulary. Don't let that freak you out. She uses terms like exigence, which just means, what prompted the speaker to, I mean, it's really purpose or just, speaker's intent. So I'd like you guys, it's 40 minutes. So what I want you to do for Wednesday, you don't have to write anything for Wednesday. But what I'd like you to do is read the Abigail Adams letter, which is posted there. And then this one right here. And then, hang on. And then I've got a link right here to Emily's video. I'd like to know that she's actually got 4 videos based on this passage. And they're okay. And the College Board is putting these together for, people unlike Telluride who don't have the kind of resources that we do, where we can actually do this, this remote learning. So what I'd like you to do is read Abigail Adams's letter, think about it, think about, how you do to respond, what would your thesis and stuff, and then go ahead and watch her 39-minute video. Again, you can scroll through the boring parts. There's parts where she asks students to do things, and she sits there for 5 or 10 minutes awkwardly, staring at the camera while ostensibly they're writing. Go ahead and watch that. And I want to give me an honest appraisal of whether or not this video is helpful for you or not. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me know if you like these videos or not. My plan is we'll get together Wednesday, talk about the Abigail Adams one. We'll look at some scored responses, and then I'm going to ask you guys to write a full 40-minute response for probably Friday or Saturday, as long as I can get it in time to read it. And then what we may do next week is meet individually one-on-one, the way we did with the Angels in America essays, and just conference with those. And that means, that sound reasonable? Not too much work, but some work. What else can I tell you? So yeah, meeting in a little bit here in about half an hour with the other AP teachers. What would you guys think? Because our exam, Bryce, what was your dad freaked out when he saw that stat was a week after school is over? Bryce, no?
I don't know. I just got here yesterday, so I haven't really talked to them.
Oh, okay.
Switched houses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was going to suggest that I'd like to meet for, work through this week. We got a long weekend, so it won't be till next Wednesday we meet. I'd like to do this Abigail Adams one, have you guys watch the video, have you actually write a response to Abigail Adams, let me score it. And then what I'd like to do is take a week off. We're not getting our 2-week break. You're not going to get out of your other classes, but I'd like to take a week off and move that week to the 15th. So we'd have a chance to get together a couple of times in the week before the exam. Our exam is on the 20th. So if we could get together like on the 17th and the 19th or something, even though school's officially out. Would you guys be okay with that or not? Yeah? No?
I'd personally really like that just because, like, seeing that some of my APs were after school ended was a little, like,
Right.
scary kind of, because I want to be able to get in contact with my teachers, but I also don't want to have, like, an extra week of school for
Right.
that.
See, this is why the spring break thing was so dumb. I cannot believe they did that.
Well, no, I think if they compromised, Jonah, and just taken 1 week
Yeah.
off, then we would have
Yeah, it'd have been
finished when the APs
perfect.
finished. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to suggest that during our meeting. And what it would mean would be you'd have a week of no, well, you wouldn't have any AP Lang classes. I'm not sure what you're doing with your other APs. But I'm going to see what the other AP teachers think. And that way, yeah, Samantha, I'm not going anywhere. And I would rather, I want to do some prep in the next few weeks. But I'd also like to take off some time and do the prep closer to the actual exam. Not get you guys all burnt out. So April 30th rolls around and it's still 3 weeks before the exam. You guys are sick of doing rhetorical analysis. So anyway, that's the plan. So any thoughts, comments? Tents opening up there. So, it's loud. Yeah, okay. Yeah, nice little wood patterns on the on the tent ceiling. It's kind of dark, but nice, gold. Anyway, so go forth and then do great things. Read the Abigail Adams letter. Watch the video. I have no problem with you scrolling through the dead time. And then on Wednesday, be ready to talk about Abigail Adams. Let me know what you thought of the video, if that was helpful, because there are a few more that we can watch. And then we'll probably write. It's a long weekend. Could you guys all commit to writing something for 40 minutes on like Thursday and getting it to me by Thursday night, and you'd have a 4-day weekend? That give me 4 days to grade these things. Would that be okay? Tommy's saying yeah, no, yeah. Matthew, no. What's Matthew doing? Okay. All right. Well, listen, thanks. Sorry about the confusion. I'll try and have things going better. My internet's a little funky. I thought these things would pop right up. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Use the balance of, third period here to go. Okay, that's enough. Got an excavator coming in to fix a water line. You have to go flip the water on. Anyway. All right. So that's it. Appreciate you guys. You all look great. You look healthy. That's good. Are we getting tested again this week? Has anybody heard?
Next week, yeah.
Oh, no, aren't we going to get, isn't it 2 weeks now? Isn't this week the?
Mine was a week ago today, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Mine, I think. Oh, Matthew, you're going to make me vomit.
I think it starts this week and then it goes it starts this weekend and goes till next week.
Goes through, yeah. All right. All righty. Well, you guys take care. And I will see you Wednesday, same time. That's about it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lavender.
Thanks, Mr.
Bye, guys.
Lavender.
Guillermo, it's great
Have a
to
good day.
sort of see you. Bye, Ambra.
Later.
So long.
Yeah,
Hey,
Gmo.
Guillermo.
Lavender.
Yes.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
So for mines, they tell you that we take